Hi, my name's Karen Mare, and I'm a returnee from Argentina in 1981-82 for a year program. It was definitely an impact on my life long term. As a young adult, it steered my way of what my area of study would be in college, and when I started my family, it inspired me to want to give back in a real passionate way. I was a liaison to a few students in our local chapter and acted as a local chapter president for a while to help build and inspire others to give back to the AFS mission. It was influential in raising my kids because I hosted a few times too, I wanted them to have that world exposure to what learning about people from other cultures meant. And I couldn't afford to travel the world with them, so I brought the world home to them, and that was a huge impact. And of my 3 children, my daughter went on to go abroad with AFS for a year, which led to opening further doors and expanding our perspective as a whole family.
My name is Marika Strauss, and I am an AFS returnee from Ecuador, where I spent a year abroad in '99. Was able to pass the millennium in Cuenca, Ecuador, and saw their traditions. I am now working for AFS as the Volunteer Development Coordinator for the Western States. Today is my 4th day. Woohoo! AFS impacted my life in so many different ways. From the day I went to Ecuador to today, now 11 years later. Everything from when I got to Ecuador, from that day I started making lifelong friends that today I still keep in touch with and have come to visit me in the different places I've lived in the world, and I've gone to visit them in different places of the world, and I now feel an international community. Being a returnee will help me in first my communication with the volunteers, because I have an understanding of what it's like to be a student, and I think at the end of the day the reason that we're here both as a staff member and as a volunteer community is to, of course, help the students. And I think that's the bottom line, is to be able to understand what it's like to be a student in a foreign country.
My name is Jennifer Peck, and I'm an AFS returnee. I went to Indonesia in 1992-1993 for a year program. Right now I work for AFS USA. I'm Director of Student Services, so I help all of the staff who are in touch with students and volunteers to help other people have an AFS program. I think one of the things I didn't know when I became an AFS student was that I was going to now have AFS friends around the world internationally. So I was in a city that also had a Danish boy, a Japanese girl, and a Finnish girl. And so all of us sort of were our own little AFS family that we got to help support one another. And it's really wonderful for me to know that I could go to a lot of different places around the world and have a group of people that I would still be able to connect with.
Doug Bear, and I'm originally from Fairbanks, Alaska, and I went to France in 2006 to 2007. I went for a year for my senior year of high school, and now I currently live in Portland, Oregon, where I work for AFS USA as a returnee, so to speak, coordinator, I suppose you could say. And since then, I've been volunteering as well when I got down to Oregon with AFS in the Columbia Pacific area. And so I do a lot of volunteer work with them as far as group leading with other foreign exchange students and talking to other returnees and try to get them involved back in the AFS USA process. I really wanted to just be back into an international community, and I figured that I'd be able to interact with more returnees coming back into the organization.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Merrill, and I was an AFS exchange student to Karlstad, Sweden in 1999 for the full year. I actually just got back 2 days ago from chaperoning a group of AFS students to France, and I used that as a jumping off point to go back to Sweden to visit my host family for the first time in 9 years, which was really exciting. When I was chaperoning the students to France, I really felt that being a returnee helped me connect with the students, because even though they looked about 10 years old, despite the fact that they were 16, I could very clearly remember how I felt when I was in their seat. I could remember sitting on the plane and writing in my journal and feeling so nervous about everything that was ahead of me. But I felt like that was a point of really genuine connection that I could have with the students, and so I sat down and talked with some of them through what they were feeling, and I think that helped them put their feelings in perspective. I really enjoyed visiting my family as well. It was really wonderful to be able to connect with them again, and it honestly felt like no time had passed when I was sitting in their kitchen eating dinner and having traditional Swedish salmon and schnapps and all that good stuff. That was really wonderful. And I have also visited my Welcome family since I was an AFS student. They were living in Thailand several years ago, and so I was able to visit them and stay with them for a couple weeks in Thailand. And so I really feel that being an AFS student sort of opened the doors to a lot of other travel for me. Sweden was the first time I had been outside of the US, but since then I've traveled abroad at least once every year.
Hi, my name is Kelly Quackenbush. I'm an AFS returnee from Spain. I went there for my junior year in 1996-97. It definitely was a wonderful experience that impacted my studies in college and has continued to inspire my interest in all things international, including working with immigrants and visitors here in my own community here in Portland, Oregon. I majored in international studies and Spanish, and I've worked as a Spanish-English interpreter here in my community. I've had the opportunity to travel abroad and been to various Latin American countries thanks to my background in Spanish and that experience that I had as a teenager living abroad in Spain with a host family. I am currently in the process of applying to the Peace Corps, and this is sort of just a continuation of the path I started on as an AFS student back when I was 16 years old. I don't think that I'll ever lose interest in traveling and learning about the world and seeing what I can do out there.